Welcome to another episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television.
Welcome in, House Huddlers.
Huddle up! We still got it. We still got it.
Off-season hasn't hit us too hard yet. We are 2 weeks out from our last episode with Bob joining us, so thank you, Bob. And we did a little bit of a mock off-season with the free agency period only. And
I want to build on that.
Yeah, it was a good episode. If you didn't see it, please go check it out. Before we get into anything, I just want to say, please hit the subscribe button. If you are coming across this, hit the subscribe button. You'll be entered into a free giveaway. We are trying to give away a Chicago Bears jersey. I say that because, yes, it says Justin Fields. We don't even know if Fields is going to be on the team.
It's not looking like he will be.
No. I think
you can get a commemorative jersey of Fields, or you can get any player you'd like.
Or maybe you're just a really big fan of the field, right?
Okay.
And you'll just,
there you go.
Be like the sod father. I mean, I don't know, bringing out the White Sox in here a little bit. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave comments, please. Leave comments. We love comments. And you'll be automatically entered as soon as we hit 750 subscribers. We're real close to 600.
Almost at 600, yeah.
And then we will give that jersey away. That should happen before the season.
Let's do it.
You guys make it happen. Let's make it happen before the season starts.
Let's go.
Right? All right.
So,
NFL Combine week.
Combine.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields, as you said, potentially on his way out of Chicago. So
yeah.
I think those two things before we jump into the next thing.
Yeah. Before I forget, for anyone who is new, I am Rob Schwartz. As always, as always, with me, my co-host and good friend, Justin Onayemi.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't say bear goggles. We won't get into that. I'm still there. I'm writing, but I'm no longer editing. So still check out my content.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
A little.
So episode 77.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
We both were like, have there been any 77s? So
yeah.
we had to look it up. There's only been one.
Yeah, and I'm guessing there's some like older guys that probably are like, come on, how did you not know who this is? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but it was way before my time.
I said that it's before time.
Yeah.
We're going all the way back to Red Grange. Let's see, what years did he play? From wait a minute. I had it. Like 1929 or something.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's the Wayback Machine.
Before it was actually a part of the NFL, like.
The
Super Bowl era, right?
He was a Hall of Famer, all 1920s team.
All 1920s. Nice. Back when they ran, what did you say? 3.3 yards a carry was like.
Yeah, his career average is 3.3 yards per carry, 21 touchdowns in 96 games.
Nice. Yeah, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't know.
The game has definitely changed since then.
Evolution.
Wait, you know what's crazy? Oh no, I don't have Red Grange up here. I think I do have a Red Grange bobblehead though.
Really?
I should have brought that up.
Known.
In fact, I might have to dig it out while you're like talking at some point and see if I can find it. So this is going to be a good episode. We are going to talk a little bit about the combine, very short amount. I call it the underwear Olympics. It's just not really for me. I like to use it as a gauge to confirm what I already have seen on film, or if something stands out to me, it's like, oh man, that guy ran really slow, like in everything, not just the 40, but in everything. Like maybe I need to double check my tape study here. So I'll go back, right?
I feel like they could do away with the whole thing. And specifically when I looked at it as a Bears fan, knowing that there's a strong likelihood they're drafting Caleb Williams and how much he didn't participate.
Yeah.
I feel like, yes, there are a few guys who do a drill and blow people away, and it probably earns them a little bit more money because they go 10 spots higher. And there's a few guys it makes them drop a little bit, like you're saying. But people are getting injured.
Yeah.
Either training for this or actually executing it. You got offensive linemen, multiple, who 20 yards into the 40 yard, which again, When is a guy ever
Not
off
that
your line going to run 40 yards?
never.
Braxton Jones seems to get downfield a lot, I noticed.
He
like
does.
when running backs
Tevin
score, he's
Jen-
like right there. I'm like, damn, dude.
Tevin Jenkins does too. Lucas
And
Patrick.
Darnell Wright did the wide receiver offseason workout.
Yeah,
Remember?
that's right. That's right. Because he did the wrong one. Oh, I forgot about that.
So, I mean, I would be fine doing away with the whole thing. Tape matters. Like how you perform in-game action. Do more of the pro days. Do interviews, of course. But
Right. And that's where, for me, with Caleb Williams and the measurements, I do want to see the measurements. I think that stands out. It was something I was really concerned about with Caleb Williams was his height. He's 6'1", a little bit over 6'1".
You made it sound like he was gonna measure out to Bryce Young's size.
I did not.
Bryce Young looks like me out there.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but I thought 5'11" was in the cards, and I was a little concerned about it. And now that we know that he's 6'1", like I'm good. I'm ready to roll. Right, like I've been on the Justin Fields support team this whole entire offseason. I mean, let's just get into it. I am at the point now. All the cards are, on the table, and it is definitely looking like we're waiting for the river, but we definitely can tell that it's Justin Fields is no longer going to be this quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams is most likely going to be who they draft first overall.
And they had number 1 pick last year.
Yeah.
He was, he being Poles and his regime was still somewhat new.
Yeah.
And they're looking at a guy like Fields and the amount of potential he has. But at that point, they could have selected any quarterback they wanted then. They could have been the ones to say, Bryce Young's our guy. CJ Stroud's our guy. They made a trade, brought over not just what ended up being the number 1 pick,
right,
but also DJ Moore, which will now help any new quarterback you bring. So to me, like a lot of people seem like disappointed that they're going to use the number 1 pick on who they think is the best quarterback in this draft and maybe in many drafts there have been in the last few years.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you want to do when you have the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
and yes, does that make us on a personal level feel a little bad for a guy like Justin Fields? Maybe. I actually hope he goes on to success on his next team.
There's nothing that I can say bad about Justin. Like I'm not going to sit here and bash him, right? Like he had 3 years. Unfortunately, one of them was a strip down year. He didn't have all the pieces around him. He didn't have the development that you see other quarterbacks get from other teams. Had he been drafted by the Green Bay Packers and he sat behind Aaron Rodgers, he might be lighting us up. But instead, he was thrown out there. Very first game, 9 sacks.
Well, and could he still develop into the quarterback you want him to be or need him to be? Yes. But you'd have to financially make decisions much, much quicker with a guy like him. Not to mention, they must be looking at this as what is the potential of him reaching a ceiling and all of the prospects, including Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we've seen him progress year after year after year. So, he can continue to get to that point. But we also have to recognize he's not even statistically a top 20 quarterback from a passing standpoint. So,
I mean, his legs does add a component that you can't really, no other quarterback, maybe with the exception of Lamar Jackson, can really compete with. But when I ran his numbers, it was Mitch Trubisky numbers.
If he lands in the right system, I think he's going to succeed. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter
of... we're going to have to decide what system that is because I think part of our mock is the trade of Justin Fields.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Now, rumors are that trade market isn't as robust as some people originally thought. We heard Peter King say, they could get a first. We heard Adam Schefter say it could be a first. Now he's backtracking a little bit. I haven't heard anything from Peter King saying anything different, but we're hearing some people say that it's way lower than what they're expecting. But we also have to understand this is smokescreen time that could be coming from multiple teams that are interested. I think a lot of teams are interested, though, in Kirk Cousins, who is likely to hit free agency. And I think Fields could be like that second piece. They might be waiting for who's going to land Kirk before they even try to trade for Fields.
Interesting. I would rather it come before free agency, and I think you might be able to get more at that time. But to me, and what I think we should pursue in this is a second-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And I'd even be okay with getting a second-round draft pick if the Bears had to kick in a pick of their own later. Like if it had to be Fields and a fifth for a second or something like that, I'd be fine with that because a second, depending on what team it's with, is a top 50 player.
Correct.
So, Yeah, we're gonna have to make that decision. So
Yeah.
should we move on into it?
Yeah, I think that's our first move.
All right.
So I think we can definitely dive into it.
So the team that I think seems the most likely, just with the noise I keep hearing, is Atlanta.
Yep.
So I say
Lots of reasons.
I mean, there could be a secret team out there. I've heard New England here and there, but I don't think so. I think we zero in on Atlanta, and like I said, we try to get their second round pick. Which, do you happen to know what number that is?
Off the top of my head, I think it's 43.
Sounds about right. Okay.
Now, by the way, we're going to be using the Pro Football Focus mock draft simulator. There's a little bit of quirks that I don't like with it, but you can trade players, so we can definitely make that trade happen. We just might have to force it. But
okay. Well, I'd like to see if they accept it, to see how realistic they think it is that he's worth a second. They just won't do it at all.
No, it's the simulator is very quirky when it comes to trading players.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you throw in that fifth, like I said.
Yeah.
Future seventh. All right. So let's start there. We believe. So we're also saying, in essence, that we're drafting Caleb Williams at 1. Is that your thing, or? I mean, there are even rumors of trading Fields and then still possibly trading down the 1, but still grabbing a quarterback.
So here's the thing.
That seems.
I have Drake May in the same quarterback tier as Caleb Williams. Not ranked as high, but in my same tier. That said, they're very different type of players. So it depends on what you're looking for. You know, if you're trying to build a system and you think one of those guys would run your system better, I could see potentially trading back with Washington, let them take whoever they want, and you take who's left, which most likely would be Williams in Washington, Drake May in Chicago.
I have a lot of people have Daniels going ahead of Drake May.
I'm on record. You guys think whatever you want with Jaden Daniels. Fuck him. I'm not even taking him in the first round. Like, what? I'm sorry. No.
Wow.
Nope, not touching him. Not in Chicago, I'm not. Why would you want Justin Fields light? That's literally what you're getting with him. He's Justin Fields at 186 pounds. The guy's going to get killed in the NFL.
All right.
That said, he's my quarterback 4 on my draft board. I mean, I just kind of like, I exaggerated it. He's going to go in the top 10.
For sure.
But, I mean, there are guys I'm taking over him.
Okay.
And
well, to me, I think Caleb Williams is the pick at 1. And the only reason I'm saying that is you can't fully trade Fields unless you know that's what you're doing.
That's where I'm at. So we're locked in on.
All right. So now let's make this Fields pick trade happen.
All right. So
with Atlanta, some other teams I've heard rumored, and there was an article that came out today. I don't remember who wrote it. Do you know? Because I think we read the same article. But talked about 4 teams that possibly are interested. One being Atlanta, like we talked about. Pittsburgh, which I heard is not as likely. Minnesota, which I would not trade him in your division, and Vegas.
Yeah, it was Vegas, which is weird to me. Why would Getsy and
I know that did seem weird.
Makes no sense to me.
Getsy wants to go down in flames with him in 2 locations.
It was an ESPN article, but I'm blanking on who actually was the author.
All right, so let's say best case scenario is Fields straight up for their second round.
By the way, I was right, 43. Okay, 43. It's actually saying this is going to get accepted.
All right.
Just straight up that trade.
That's our best case scenario.
Okay. I actually personally think that you get more for him.
Oh, then just a second?
Just a second. I think
throw in
I think it could be that you have to swap picks at some point, right? So
all right. What's their
could we get
5th or 4th?
Could we
4th a lot.
Let's see. Can we swap 110 and 143?
Okay. Move up 33 spots. That's basically a round.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
Let's see what happens. They accepted it.
Okay. So we just traded Justin Fields to Atlanta for picks. Justin Fields and pick
143, which is a 5th rounder.
Which is a 5th for the Bears. Their last pick, I believe.
Yeah.
For the 43rd pick and pick 110.
Yeah. So we got it moved up into the 4th round.
Okay.
So basically a 2nd and a 4th for Fields and a 5th.
Okay. Let's do it. All right. So now we already kind of tipped our hat.
Yeah.
But we are on the clock at 1.
We are. So let's start this draft. I don't know how to do the music. It's in my head, but I can't do it.
All right. Caleb Williams to me does seem like a very talented, special quarterback. I know there's a lot of things people are worried about with him, but it seems like, first of all, a lot of it is not related directly to football, I would say.
Yeah.
And a lot of it might not even really be that much reality. Like hearing him actually interview and talk and just seeing who he is, like as a person, it seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Like his teammates speak highly of him.
Yeah,
like,
he aced his interviews.
Yeah.
Right. He aced his interviews. Seeing him go and like actually ask questions as media to some of his teammates. I saw it specifically just with Brendan Rice. I don't know if he did with others, but you know, kind of supporting his player, like his teammates, right? Granted, the question he asked Brendan Rice was, how does it feel to be Jerry Rice's son? Like clearly Brendan Rice is where he's at right now because of his dad. Probably plays a part in it, right?
Of course.
But yeah, he aced his interviews.
I think he's an incredible prospect. I also think that the team he's going to be coming into, I mean, he said it at some point in his press conference that was mainly, I think, Bears reporters, it sounded like.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But Greg, a 7-10 team picking number one is not the typical situation you come into. You could be going to a team that went 3-14, which which is what their record was the year prior.
I do have to give him a little bit of crap because he got the record wrong. He said they were 8-9 instead of 7-10. I wish they were 8-9. You would think you'd be a little bit more prepared, knowing that Chicago's on the clock at 1. That you would think of those things, but especially if you're going to bring them up yourself, it wasn't like someone asked him. Right?
I'm fine with it.
He
probably added a win already, thinking like, when I'm there, that's at least one win up.
Yeah. So my original notes on him was that he has the highest ceiling in the draft. I find that he has a relatively decent floor, right? My only concern was the defenses figure him out. After the Notre Dame game, though, people think he actually played horrible, and he actually didn't. Like, his stats were actually very good. They just lost games, and that had a lot to do with the fact that their defense was letting up over 40 points a week.
Wins and losses still is a team thing.
Yes.
Yes. And I know he gets compared to Mahomes, and I don't think that's fair.
No.
But, go back to Mahomes' record in college.
Yes.
And against big teams and all this other nonsense. Look at the player. He can make every throw.
He can make every
His release is very fast.
Much faster than Justin Fields.
He's mobile.
Yes.
He's not going to probably break it for 60, 70 yards like Fields. But that's not what you need or look for in a quarterback.
Correct.
Escapability.
Yes.
Presence. And I think better than Fields, once he escapes, being able to still throw without resetting his platform.
So what we saw from Fields this year towards the end of the season was that he was starting to use his eyes, keep them downfield as he was moving and making those throws. He did it a little bit in year 1, a little bit in year 2, but you really saw growth after he got hurt and came back. It was almost like
he had to watch Bajan film.
He got to, seriously. He kept his eyes downfield and he was making those throws more often. The difference, though, is Caleb Williams was already doing that in college, right? Caleb Williams didn't have receivers like Justin Fields did who were just wide open. Justin Fields is an amazing deep ball, but a lot of that is also because his guys were wide open in college. I mean, look at the receivers he had: Garrett Wilson, Olave, Jackson Smith-Njigba, a little bit of Marvin Harrison, right? I think he was there just his rookie year. Maybe. I don't think he played very many snaps. I don't think so. There's more. I'm blanking on another one there, but look at those guys, right? Now you had Jordan Addison, who did have a really good rookie year. I thought he was my top wide receiver last year, coming into the draft. Did well for Minnesota. Outside of that, who do they have? I mean, Brendan Rice is a second, third round pick at most.
Well, and people are talking about the Bears O-line as if it's a terrible line, which I don't know
internally. The inside.
Yeah, but that's what. Well, anyway,
and part of that
we addressed it partially in free agency with Aaron Brewer.
We did.
I think it's still something we look for in a draft, which is why it's important to acquire these picks and move up a whole round, potentially land another prospect there. But I like what you have at guard. I like what you have at tackle. You have to get some depth, and they will.
Yeah.
But his O-line at USC was not very good.
No.
And so I just want to see him with this team. We're not going to talk this much about each prospect, but
no,
I feel like
Caleb
we need
Williams.
to say some Caleb Williams stuff.
It's the first pick in the draft. It's the quarterback position. You're moving on from who you thought was going to save this organization to now.
Did you hear him say when they said, like, oh, are you worried about going to the Bears where they don't have a lot of history at quarterback? He said, do you hear that?
I did, yeah.
He's like, I more think about writing history and rewriting history.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about rewriting it, though. That's the thing. I was waiting for you to get there so I could say that.
Just a few Sid Luckman records to break.
Yeah, you got
do
nothing
that in about a season and a half.
Nothing to worry about there. The one thing I thought was interesting, though, is that they asked him, what do you want to ask if you got to ask one question to the Chicago Bears? And it was, how important is winning to you, right? Like, and you know, you got his dad, that whole situation. I don't think it's going to be a big problem. I really don't. I think it's I think you just, like, we run up to the board or to the podium, we hit draft, we're done. Like, I'm ready to roll.
And I know one thing to be said about Fields, he was a leader in that locker room. The players really liked him and supported him. But I go back to draft day when they drafted him, how excited Eddie Jackson was.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's not the best example since he's also on his way out.
Yes.
But times do change. Things change. If Williams comes in and starts to show the talent and skill set that he has, people will be on board. And that's that. So,
all right, let's draft him.
Yep, here we go.
I am going to cry immediately as Marvin Harrison goes off the board very quickly, I'm sure.
Drake May, 2.
Drake May went 2.
Wow.
Malik Neighbors went 3.
Before MHJ.
Now, he's getting a lot of steam, right? He's the yak guy. Like,
yeah,
I really like him. He's my wide receiver too, but I've already said it. Marvin Harrison is my top tier. So no one else is with him.
I guess this thing is going pretty quick. We should talk here. Yeah. Bears have 1. They have 9.
Yes, that's why I paused it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit. So if people go all the way back to mock drafts of your or no, the real draft and our response and reaction.
Yes.
We talked about how the Bears needed to draft to help their young quarterback in Justin Fields. And you were so upset the year they didn't have a first, had 2 seconds, and spent them both on the defensive side of the ball with Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker.
And my favorite guy to bring up in this podcast.
The defense getting good does help your quarterback.
Sure.
They didn't get George Pickens.
They did not get George Pickens.
So, but my question here is, what are we looking to do at 9 potentially? Now, is there a scenario where someone starts to fall and you want to trade up?
Yep.
And there may be a scenario of trading back because the Bears only have 5 picks and we just added 1.
We just added 1.
So we're up to 6 now.
Knowing that we have a second makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about moving up if we need to.
Okay.
We're talking top 10 talent here.
Right. And can I just say what I think would be a trade down scenario?
Yeah.
All right. So with what I said about making your defense better, I still would love to piece here a top receiver. We just saw Neighbors go at 3.
Yep.
We know MHJ is not going to be there at 9.
The
question
4.
is Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
Like, to me,
another
that's a good
guy
fit.
who did, we say about the combine, but he won the combine too.
You're right. That's a good fit. And then you got a guy like Brock Bowers. But if it's all offense and the tackles go, and now you're looking at, can you get a great edge rusher to pair with Montez Sweat?
Yep.
You got Dallas Turner. You got Jared Verse.
Yep.
Now, to me, those 2 maybe at 9, but other edge rushers you could get not at 9 if you trade back.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are you feeling? What are your thoughts here?
My feeling is this will never happen, but I'd want to trade up right now and get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, but seriously though, how much would you have to give up, and is that worth it?
No, it's not.
Okay, then let's
not. I think if we were to trade up, here's what we should have done in that trade is swapped picks 8 and 9.
Ooh.
With Atlanta.
Damn.
We're too late to do it now. But if Ryan Poles was smart, that's what he should do is swap picks.
8, 9, switch.
And maybe you don't even worry about those back end picks, right?
Like, and just get their second.
I don't know. I know it's only one spot.
All right.
But that could be the difference
in getting Odunze.
Yeah.
And then Fields gets Odunze.
Yeah. So okay. So I think we're in agreement though.
Right.
We're gonna let it ride to 9.
Okay. We're not trading up.
But guys, it's not even free agency period yet. So like there's a good chance we're going to do at least one more offseason.
Oh, sorry. But the reason I really wanted a receiver is because in our mock free agency, we didn't go for Mike Evans.
No.
We didn't go for top receiver. We took Curtis Samuel, who slots in at wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
That's setting up for you still need a number 2. It's not Tyler Scott.
No.
It should be potentially a guy like Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
Okay. We might have an interesting conversation, though, if Bowers falls.
What? Okay, this is getting crazy.
What's happening?
The Cardinals took Cooper DeJean, the cornerback out of Iowa.
That's crazy.
Marvin Harrison Jr. goes to the Chargers.
That's nice.
That's a good pick. Obviously,
Harbaugh
knows Ohio State very well, right? There goes Rome Odunze, 6
So wait,
Giants.
Pause though. There are quarterbacks like crazy still, which also could lead to a trade down if a team wants to come up to grab a quarterback. The only other quarterback that went so far is Drake May.
Joe Alt, which is my top offensive tackle, and also in my same tier with Caleb Williams and Drake May.
Okay.
Went 7 to 10.
So now, 7 just went. So in your other scenario, Bears would be
able to pick, but all 3 receivers are gone.
All 3 receivers are gone. So we're not as critical.
Correct.
All right, let's see what Atlanta does. They have Justin Fields now.
They went with who? So right tackle. Talise Fuaga is a really, really good right tackle prospect. Kind of reminds me, and Gary Ross, the guy I know, who's, if any of you follow CHGO, you know who Gary Ross is. He's one of their biggest diehards. Him and I were talking on Twitter, and he said he reminds me a lot of Tevin Jenkins, and I completely agree. He's a big mauler, could play tackle, but I see him better as an interior lineman. He's my top interior lineman and in my top 10 of my draft prospects. So he goes to Atlanta. They're trying to shore up that offensive line for Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay.
So we're on the clock.
Now, let's just talk about a few options here. Fashanu, left tackle out of Penn State.
Yep.
Is still on the board.
Yeah, I love him.
You were a little bit down, more so, on who's my guy? Braxton Jones. Than Bob and I were.
Yes.
We feel that's not a position of need right now, that you have the guy, and definitely not right tackle. We're good there.
Yeah.
So that's still a conversation, though, to be had. Now, there are quarterbacks available.
There are.
So trading back could look
Only
fine.
2 quarterbacks have gone.
Right.
That's insane.
So trading back is an option there, I think. Now, the other option, Brock Bowers.
Yep.
Very, very athletic tight end.
Yep.
So you don't get your receiver, but you get your pass catcher.
Correct.
Or do you go top defender? One corner has gone, but top edge rusher, and get a guy like Dallas Turner. I believe you said you like Jared Verse a little better.
I'm a big Jared Verse fan.
I feel like
just for their system.
Okay.
Right. I think Dallas Turner is a guy who can play both 4-3 and 3-4, but I see him more as a 3-4.
Okay.
Jared Verse I only see as a 4-3.
All right. Let's see what trade offers are coming to us at 9.
And we also got Latu, who had an awesome combine, even though I said it's pointless. Okay, so we have 3 trade partners looking to move up. We have the Denver Broncos, who are probably going to be looking for a quarterback.
Yep.
Right?
Makes sense.
They are at pick 12, so it's not too
that
much
far
of a
to go
drop. We got the Colts at 15, another one that's not too far of a drop. I'm curious to what they would be moving up for, maybe a corner. And then we have the Eagles all the way down in 22, which is a little too far back.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I could see 12.
Yeah.
Because you could still pretty much get all the people we just mentioned.
Yes.
At 12.
Yeah. So for me,
they're trading up for a quarterback.
For me personally, if you get to 9, all 3 receivers are gone and Joe Alt is gone, I personally am moving back. Okay. I like Brock Bowers a lot, but at the same time, I feel like getting a top tight end like that high in the draft doesn't seem to ever work out in the long term as far as like teams progressing, right? Yeah. And this team has too many holes to think that tight end is a need when we've seen how good Cole Kmet can be.
I'm just saying he strikes me as a tight end that is a receiver for you.
Sure. Kyle Pitts was supposed to be that too. What has he done?
Okay. Well, I think if you trade back and now you're having that same conversation at 12, sure, maybe it's a different conversation. But let's see what else you would get for that. You're not just swapping, obviously.
Right. Okay.
You're getting something else.
So we're going to give them 9. Take 12. Okay,
take 12.
So here's a problem that I have with the Broncos. Their next pick is 76.
Wow. And obviously you could get next year's picks involved, but really we want, especially for the purpose of this particular exercise we're doing here.
Correct.
Capital in this draft is really more what we're looking at.
Let's just take a peek and see what the Colts have.
Okay, at 15.
Okay, so now they have a second rounder at 46. Are they willing to give up a second round pick to go from 15 to 9? I don't know.
Seems like a lot.
It does. But if they are, I would
Let's try
definitely
it.
take that.
Okay, because now the Bears go from having 0 second round picks to 2 if we get this trade plus the trade we did with for Fields.
All right, so Pro Football Focus is giving this a 68% chance of going through.
We go back, this time we go back 6 spots. All the guys we mentioned won't be there.
They accepted it.
All right. Ryan Poles has shown that he does like to
By the way, I
turn
called
a few
it.
picks into more.
I called it. They moved up for a corner.
Okay. They took, who would they take?
Kenyon Mitchell.
Kenyon Mitchell. Okay. Who went at 10?
Brock Bowers went 10 to the. Oh, he's going to play with Aaron Rodgers.
Jets.
With the Jets. Dallas Turner is the first edge off the board at 11.
To
He's
the
going
Vikings.
to the Vikings, but they got rid of Daniel Hunter, right? They're going to get rid of him, so he's gone. Nate Wiggins, who is another guy who ended up getting hurt at the combine.
Yeah,
right?
but he ran blazing fast.
Yes. So now we got the Raiders on the clock.
So wait. Well, it's okay. Who
Corner.
would you be targeting at this point? Just see who gets there, who's there, and then
I'm taking an edge.
Okay.
Right? You got
Chop
and
Robinson.
Olufushanu's still there too.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. But
the problem is this is a pretty deep offensive tackle draft.
I would wait.
Yeah.
I would wait.
We could also go center. I mean, a lot of people I keep seeing taking Jackson Powers Johnson like this early. Personally,
that does seem very early.
I'm not doing it.
That seems very early.
Adam Hogue picked him, I think, like 12th. He moved down from 9 to 12 and took him at 12. Like,
all right, let's see. Let's see who we got. And then when we get through the first round, which that will be this, we'll take a quick break.
Yeah, we'll come back with second through. All right. So the four guys that I actually mentioned, right? Olu is the top ranked one by PFF right now who's available. Then we got Jared Verse, defensive end. We got Jackson Powers Johnson, and we got Liatu Latu.
Okay. Wow. There's another edge I like, but I don't know if I take him here. Chop Robinson.
Chop, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that means another position is a better position to focus on. But like you said, taking a center here seems kind of odd to me. And I don't think left tackle is a position of high need. Granted, a guy who I thought could have been a top 5 pick is there halfway through first round. So do you just take that pure talent and know that you're giving your brand new quarterback a bookend tackle?
Right.
Wow. I didn't think coming into this that
I didn't think
the decision
would
we'd be
drop
making.
This far.
But
I did not.
All right.
But I'm a huge Jared Verse fan.
Okay.
I'm a huge so to me when I look at this board,
it's one of the last things the defense needs. We talk about a 3-tech, but if you have an edge like that, now you move Walker inside. We like Dexter.
Yeah.
There's other guys on that rotation, but you would just have 2 fierce ends.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
We were ready to take him potentially at 9.
Yes. Yeah, we're
all right.
So you're good with Verse?
I'll go with Verse.
I think you were on the defensive side more in the beginning anyway, and I think you talked yourself into Olu.
No, I was just pointing out that
it's
just how fast those receivers went.
Yeah.
Then that shifted me more to that.
Correct. So. And no other quarterbacks have gone yet.
Even after the trade up.
Right.
That's crazy. All right, Jared Verse.
And we have no trade offers either, by the way.
Ah. Okay, and that completes the Bears' first round, but why don't we let it go through the first round? Pause it.
Jackson Powers Johnson went 18, by the way.
Fashanu 21?
Yeah.
To the Dolphins.
Another 2 wide receivers went. Troy Franklin out of Oregon went at 20 to Pittsburgh. They love their receivers. Brian Thomas went to the Eagles. By the way, now all 5 of my top receivers are off the board.
Okay, well.
Jerry Newton out of Illinois. He went at 27. Oh, no. Ladd McConkley was the guy I was hoping would fall into the second and we'd get him. I don't see him as a first rounder, but he had a good combine. He went 30th to Baltimore.
Excuse me.
And to finish it off.
Is Keon Coleman still available?
He is. To finish it off,
Might have to look at him in a second.
Adiani, I don't know if I'm saying his first name right. Mitchell, the guy who broke the record, 2.21.
4.21.
4.21. Yeah, he went 30 seconds to the Chiefs.
Now, okay, we're going to take a break here, which is, I think that makes sense because the way the draft works now, after round 1, there's a day off.
Yeah.
And so the Bears would have some stuff to talk about here because now they have 2 seconds.
Yes.
Do we package those to move up for a particular target, or do we just wait and see what we got?
Right.
So we'll take a break, and you and I will have a little bit of that chat off the air, and then, of course, back on the Hallis Huddle. Enjoy these ads. Welcome back, Hallis Huddle. We're doing a mock draft. We just finished round 1. We took Caleb Williams. Have you guys heard of him?
Yeah, it's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, we took him at 1. This is after trading Field for a second-round pick, which is coming up here, I believe, pick 43, which was Atlanta's second-round pick. And we also, we traded down the 9. But that was because receivers went fast.
Yeah.
And in our mock free agency last episode, we didn't go after the big name free agent, which maybe the Bears will. We don't know. But we added Curtis Samuel. So we were hoping to get like Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze type. And right now, going into the second round, we still don't have a receiver.
We do not.
And we pick 43 and 46. So could you potentially package those and move up? Yeah, but I don't think we want to do that. We worked hard to get some more capital. We still have other needs. So center is a need. Potentially you could get a guy there or wait. And then we had free safety as a position that was a 1.
It's got to be a big need.
And there was a person at the combine who was going out of his mind in workouts, but he also in the interview process or something in the press conference said he doesn't believe in outer space. Yeah. And I'm like, how are you going to be a star in the league and you don't even believe a star exists? What is that? That's Tyler Owens, I believe.
Yeah.
Out of Texas Tech. He had a broad jump and a vertical jump that were crazy. He didn't run the 40, but his target time in his mind was a 4.3.
Okay.
And last year, the Bears really, really paid attention to drafting athletes.
Yeah.
And figured they
like
can teach them about planets later.
Yeah, they like those RAS scores. Athletes don't have to be intelligent. Like intelligence is not, part of that, right?
Right. But there are other there are other safeties we like, so we don't have to use them at this pick.
No.
I really think we're getting a receiver here. Keon Coleman is still available.
Yep.
But that was not the top receiver I was thinking they would be adding.
So here's the problem: is literally, and I don't think this is going to happen. 2 quarterbacks went in the first round. That's it.
That's
2
crazy.
Quarterbacks, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 5, 6, 7. Right? 7 wide receivers went in the first round, and only 2 quarterbacks.
Wow.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start up the second round. We're not going to trade up. We're going to see what's there for us at 43 and 46.
Carolina's first pick in the draft. Thanks for Caleb Williams.
They went with a free safety.
They did. Tyler Newman.
Keon Coleman is off the board to Washington.
J.J. McCarthy is the next quarterback off the board.
Who did he go to?
Oh, no, I take that back. Jaden Daniels went first.
Wow.
34 to the Patriots.
They get him in the second round. That's pretty
Keon
good.
Coleman went 36 to Washington. J.J. McCarthy went 39 to the Giants.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. Competition, right?
Michael Penix
to
Minnesota.
And
Interesting.
we are now on the clock.
I like that for Minnesota. They're having a good draft so far.
They are. So, top ranked player according to Pro Football Focus is Zach Frazier. We talked about going center. That's definitely
big need. It's a big need.
He's my number 2.
We addressed it in free agency with Aaron Brewer, but to get a guy like that young, would be very wise.
So, and that does help too, right? Like center might not be as big of a need because we went with Brewer. Roman Wilson is the next ranked wide receiver on their board.
So real quick, I know it's a mock draft, but off the air, we talked about this. If you don't get a top free agent receiver and you're hoping you're going to land one of these top 3, I mean, I don't think realistically you think you're getting Marvin Harrison unless you do something crazy in the draft.
Right.
But Odunze and Neighbors, we thought were in play at 9. You don't get any of those guys. Would the Bears consider something very splashy? And we talked off air. Maybe you trade for a guy like DK Metcalf, have him rejoin Waldron, and now you got DJ and DK at the top of your receivers.
And
That's a gift to a guy like Caleb Williams.
Those guys would be a big
and they complement each other very well, I would think.
For sure.
But that probably means you're giving up a future first. So for now, we're just going to make the most of what we got.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the clock.
We are on the clock.
I like the name. I like the name of the center that's up there, Zach Frazier. There are some other centers that we could take.
Yeah. There's still a couple safeties that are available, and we know we're getting another pick in 3 picks.
Okay.
So
let's go center.
All right, we'll take Zach Frazier. There's also 2 trades available. Just quickly glance. Philadelphia Eagles want to move up. They're at 50. That's actually not that far down, knowing we have 3 picks after this. Do you take the chance of...
And what else are you going to get? Like another 5th, 4th?
Let's see. So... we could always try to swap 75 for 54. I don't know. That's a pretty good trade, actually.
All right, go for it. Because we weren't sold on that pick anyway. And they're trying to replace Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, they might actually go center right here.
Let's see it.
But there's some other centers I still am okay with.
Okay. I mean, Van Pran was originally the number 1 guy on everyone's board.
Nope, they did not. They went with a tight end.
So we traded back. Now our pick is up, and we still have Zach Frazier on the board.
Frazier. So let's just
and we already addressed edge rusher with Verse.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'm hitting.
All right, let's go.
Zach
Frazier. Wow, and we got an asset.
Down.
We got an asset. Now we pick again at 50. What are the receivers available? Because these weren't the names we were hoping to be looking at, but it's still a position you'd want to add some talent.
Yeah, so we got Roman Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Jalen Polk, Xavier Worthy, Leggett is still available, who I know people are either like really high on or really low on. Devontae Walker, another guy really high on or really low on.
Wow.
Those are Brendan Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably the guys to lean on.
Of all those names, do any of those pop out at you?
So if I look at my rankings.
And then if not, what's another position we could be looking at?
So we still need free safety. If I'm looking at my rankings, why can't I find wide receiver? I went too far down. Let's see. I have Brendan Rice, Roman Wilson, and Walker all in the same tier. Roman Wilson. So Brendan Rice brings us some big size. He's more of like a red zone target. He is familiar, obviously, with Caleb Williams, right? So that is a little bit of a bonus. He does do a really good job, I think, of when the play becomes a little bit off scripted, he will move back towards the quarterback. Do a good job at that. He's got some hands issues sometimes where he doesn't like attack the ball enough. Uses his body a little bit more than he does his hands. But again, a big red zone threat. Roman Wilson has better hands, in my opinion, but smaller. He's only 6 foot. I know Waldron likes a little bit of size.
Okay. Now, what about, let's look at some other positions. We keep talking about depth across the line as important.
Yeah. So again, we
did
do
address
need,
center.
We do need safety. and my top safety that's available right now is Kalen Bullock, also out of USC. Kinchins is available too. I see him more of like a tweener, a little bit more.
You talked about Javon Bullard. Is he available?
He is gone.
Oh, he just went.
Yeah. We need a 3-tech. I mean, we went with 2 of them last year. Chris Jenkins is the top one available. We look at offensive line. Blake Fisher, Christian Haynes. We already took a center, so we don't need to look at them. Mason McCormick is a guy who would be on the radar for Ryan Poles because of his RAS score. I think he had like a 9.9 out of 10.
Cow. Who was that?
Mason McCormick. He's out of South Dakota. He's at guard. But again, we also have to remember, as long as Tevin Jenkins stays healthy, this is just depth at this point.
Right.
Well,
and I do think it's important depth, though.
It is.
He
but
has gotten injured almost every season.
But is it as important as adding to your position groups that you had a 1? And that was wide receiver and free safety.
Agreed.
They also could look at a running back at this point, too, by the way.
Our free agent episode, they actually bumped up the cap after we had done it.
Yes.
So the Bears actually have had an extra, we believe, $7 million available to them. Maybe they already got a running back. I don't know. But, all right.
To me, I think the talent, if you're going to go best player available.
Receiver or safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at 50. We get to pick again in 4 picks. So we could go wide receiver and then safety.
Let's go both. Yep. Let's do it in that order.
All right.
Who's your top receiver?
Brendan Rice.
All right. Let's draft him.
People are going to disagree with me, but that's where I'm at. If you have guys ranked higher, obviously they're there.
Well, and we might need to take another one somewhere later in the draft, someone who falls.
Right.
All right. We picking 4 picks. This could be
Nix
a good
just went.
free
Roman
safety.
Wilson just went. All right. We got free safety.
Honestly, would they take a guy like Owens who's got incredible athleticism? In our chat with the famous Bob Weiss, he said he literally was off the board off of that comment about planets.
Right. He did.
But that, I don't know. That was before Combine. Here I was at the beginning saying they don't even need the Combine, but he did a broad jump 12 feet 2 inches. The next closest was 11 feet 1 inch.
Yeah.
So you beat second place by a full foot. And then he had the highest vertical. Now, he didn't run the 40 because he was injured, I believe.
Yeah. That's
another person gets injured at the Combine. So. Interior defensive line, I see you just pulled up. Or did you just do best player?
No, I just have best player.
Yeah.
Chris Jenkins is there still.
They've put a lot in that position, though, recently.
Yeah.
Maybe develop your own for now.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a safety.
So I'm a little hesitant here because if we go with the guy I have ranked the highest, and it's also
another USC guy.
Is another USC guy.
We just want Caleb to be comfortable.
We got Caleb Williams, we got Brendan Rice, and then if we went this way, we'd have Kellen Bullock. But again, he is my number 2 safety overall.
Really?
Yeah.
Then let's draft him. Doesn't matter where they played in college.
Okay.
I mean, it matters in some ways, but all right. So now we have a bit of a break here. We don't pick again until somewhere in the 70s, I believe.
Which is good. We can actually speed this up a little bit. We'll just let it go.
We're not going to tell you every player.
Yeah.
And now we're really just trying to fill out our depth. So if an interior D-line, interior O-line were to fall.
Yeah, we don't have that 70 pick anymore because we moved up from 75 to 54.
You're right.
So our next pick is actually 110.
Wow. And how many more picks do we have?
3. We have 110, 111, and 123. So 2 fourths and I think a 5th.
Okay, 2 in a row here, interestingly.
Yeah.
Well, top guy is USC, so just draft him.
Let's just draft him.
That's Marshawn Lloyd, halfback out of USC. You got to take him.
No, honestly, the guy I'm looking at right now is Audric Esteem. That's my boy.
There you go, Notre Dame running back.
Oh, I love it. That's where I would go, but let's just take a quick look at who's here.
Not
Max
a bad
Melton.
Because this is the part of the draft where now
you
can hopefully just fill out best player available.
Well, do we look to see what wide receivers are still available? Because we talked about maybe having to go another one. I love Malik Washington as like a change of pace type of guy, but I would not take.
That could wait.
Yeah.
Our last pick if he's there.
Right. No one else stands out to me here.
All right.
Receivers went.
Tight end was, I mean, we like Komet.
That I love Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State. Love him. Theo Johnson, I think, was the fastest or one of the fastest 40 times. No one else really stands out to me here. Let's look at offensive line. We talked about some depth there. I think we're now at the point where I feel comfortable if it is just for depth.
Okay.
Or we've talked about it too. We did not go left tackle. Do we need to get competition for Braxton Jones, right? Isaiah Adams out of Illinois is an option. Cooper, I always mess up his name. I call him BB. I don't know.
Is it
Cooper
not BB?
out of Kansas State. I have no idea.
Every time I see that spelling, it's been BB.
Okay, so Cooper BB is one of the guys I do have on my board. And I still have not gotten through enough prospects to feel comfortable drafting 5th, 6th, and 7th rounders.
Excuse me.
Zach Zinter and Drake Nugent out of Michigan. Zinter I have higher, I believe.
I don't know how high up on the list he was. And we have back-to-back picks, by the way.
Yes.
I would be okay with picking a tight end here.
Yeah, I like Sanat.
I think we talked about
Sanat.
Higher in free agency, picking up a guy like Noah Fant.
Yes.
But a young player.
I think we did actually take Noah Fant.
Yeah. I think we just talked about it, but
yeah,
I could see them having that. In which case, maybe this is not as much of a position as need. So it's a little hard to know.
Yeah. So I actually have a late 2nd round grade on Zach Zinter out of Michigan.
Late 2nd.
Yeah.
And here we are in the early 4th. Or
yeah. But I also have Cooper Beebe with also a late 2nd round pick.
Well, either one of them, I think, gives you depth at a position where you like what you have, but you're a little concerned because that's Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins.
I will say there is one thing that I love about – there's one drill that I love for offensive linemen.
Cone drill?
The cone drill. And I'm just looking real quick. And I do see that Cooper Beebe was higher, 7.44. And he's higher in my ranking than Zinter. In fact, Zinter did not do well. So I might have to drop him down. Or he might not have tested because I don't see him on here.
I didn't see him.
So he might not have tested, but
okay.
Yeah, I think we just go Cooper Beebe.
All right. That's fine.
Get some guard depth.
And then with our next pick, possibly Johnson at tight end, or the running back.
Yeah.
I could take a running back here.
I mean, if we get Fant,
yeah,
then I feel like running back. But if they go running back, then I feel like it's tight end.
Okay,
so
like, it's either or.
Here's the thing, right? Like this is a mock, right? Yeah. So we got to see how
they're going to be different iterations.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So we going tight end or we going
running back?
Yeah. Oh, I love Audrey Cassine.
All right, and our next and last pick coming up pretty quick here, 123.
123. Boom. Let's just double check. Maybe tight end's still there. He is. Is that our guy?
Okay.
Is that our guy?
Let's just do it. Does this give us a grade?
It does.
Ooh, curious.
Dun, 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 dun.
Wait, I thought you were going. Who are we going?
Ben Sanat.
Oh, okay.
Where were you going?
I thought you said Theo Johnson, but
no, I said I think he
ran.
tested.
He ran the second fastest 40.
I was gonna say I think he ran a fast 40. I didn't see his other testing, but again, I don't really pay enough attention. All right, shouldn't say I don't pay enough attention. I do pay attention. I don't care so much about every single drill that people do. There are certain drills that are very specific to positions. 3-cone drill is one of them for offensive linemen. I feel like it shows you how much lateral movement that you have, right? Especially if you're going to be running an outside zone, which I'm assuming they're still going to do because Chris Morgan is still there.
He's now the run game coordinator, I believe.
So I think Sano also complements.
Sano had the fastest 3-cone.
Okay, well, he can block then maybe. But I do like him too as a compliment with Cole Kmet.
Okay.
And then you throw in Noah Fant. I think that's a pretty good 3.
Yeah, I like that.
All
right. Let's see what we get. Tonight you can totally warp speed the draft.
Yep.
And then
turbo mode.
See who gets
94.
Brock Purdy in this
83, one. 70, 60, 40, 38, 27, 18, 10, 9,
Those are the lottery numbers for tonight.
Done.
All right, let's see. Getting our
tabulating.
A plus. Oh no, A plus.
Caleb Williams was an A plus pick. Good job.
All right.
Good job.
We keep our jobs.
Trade, they didn't give us a grade.
Jared
Verse, we got an A.
All right.
Zach Frazier, A plus.
Love it.
I told you they're gonna hit my Brendan Rice pick. D plus. Ugh, we still got an A minus.
C minus for Bullock.
Yep. BB, they gave us a
D minus. I don't know. That seems a bit harsh.
It does. It does. They had him ranked 141. We took him at 110. So that's probably why.
Okay.
We actually took Audric Esteem at the exact number that they have. We took him at 111. They had him ranked 111.
Okay. Good value.
And we got Sano at 123. They had him at 129, and they gave us a C plus.
So A minus draft, but let's be honest, it'll come down to how Caleb Williams. This draft will forever be remembered by that.
All right. So can I tell you, I actually hate this draft. You know why? It's exactly what we're talking about. You can't trust Brendan Rice to be your guy.
But he's not. Curtis Samuel's your immediate two. He's a veteran.
That can't be.
You'd have to make a trade then. Or they addressed it more in free agency.
We
don't have that knowledge.
They're going to have to.
See, this goes back to what we're saying, though. We said wide receiver was a 1.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to get a lot of focus in free agency and a lot of focus in the draft.
Yeah.
And they realistically would have seen a run in receivers and traded up. PFF doesn't let us see who's available live.
Right.
And it was going a bit faster.
Yeah.
But you had 5 guys you said were first round value. If you can tell you're not in position to get any of the 5, that can't happen.
Right.
So they would have said, all right, at this point, let's move up. And Poles has shown a willingness to do that. Move up, move back. I do have faith that they'll likely have a stronger receiver in the draft than that.
Can I tell you, though, that this is just seems far-fetched in the fact that it took a full round to get to our QB3?
Drafts are weird. Sometimes the talk of the draft doesn't unfold at all.
No, because I feel like we're fans who are analysts, right? We look at this stuff, we analyze it, we break it down. But like when you look at the media and what they're portraying, they're showing 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks could go in the first 8 picks. That's probably not going to happen. But you got to think at least 3 go in those first 5 picks, which makes me feel like if they do that trade, and I know it didn't work for us here, but if they do that trade with Atlanta, that pick swap
is a good idea.
If they could pick swap and get the second, I think that could play a very important part.
Or just send us Drake London.
There you go.
It doesn't make sense that Carolina was willing to trade away a receiver target and acquire a new quarterback.
No, it made 0 sense.
And we saw what it led to.
And they had nobody. They had nobody like behind. It wasn't like Cincinnati, who has like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Like, okay, well, let's get rid of T. Higgins. Okay, well, you got Jamar Chase, right? Like, it wasn't that situation. Right. It was, we have DJ
Let's
Moore
bring in
and
Adam Thielen.
And no one. We brought in Adam Thielen and what? DJ Chark? Like,
yeah, it didn't work out well.
No.
Unless you're a Bears fan.
Yes.
It worked out very nicely. That's why we have Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Lovie Smith.
Yeah. Man,
because you don't have the first pick if it weren't for Lovie Smith.
No, yes,
to even
thank
get
you.
The Carolina.
Thank you, Lovie Smith. You can be like a consultant on the defense.
There you go.
Right, same type of scheme.
All right. Well, you don't love it.
I don't love it.
I would like to do a mock once we do know a little bit more about free agency.
Oh, that's what's going to happen.
So this is our initial mock. We're kind of going off a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
But as it gets closer, I think we can do a more realistic one.
But I think this is what it points out is they need to address receiver heavy in free agency.
True. But it also, if you go heavy on edge, maybe you're not taking Jared Verse.
Right. And I'd feel better if we had Troy Franklin or Brian Thomas there.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And then you have Brendan Rice as your 3.
Right. Or you don't take him.
Right. Right. Now, I think you double up no matter what, whether it's Rice or you take somebody lower, Polk, Walker.
Okay.
Any of those guys, like
that much of a position.
Yeah.
Because we really have it down to just DJ Moore and Tyler Scott.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yes.
All right. Well, we did our best. We got an A- from PFF.
Yeah.
We addressed a lot of needs.
did.
I would like to see that D line.
We did. Oh, I would love that D line. Jared Verse is an animal, guys. He's an animal. He's got like everyone was worried about Jermon Dexter's like get off. That is not something you got to worry about with Jared Verse. Now I will say, Liatu Latu, that guy has burst too, and his hand fighting. Oh my god! If you are a fan of defensive line play, just go watch his hand fighting techniques because it is amazing. We saw it big time at the Senior Bowl. You see it on tape. The only thing I worry about with him, obviously, he had an injury that a lot of people are saying isn't going to be as big of an issue as
played
they
2
were.
seasons since then.
Right. Even though they said he would never play football again.
Yeah, he had to retire.
Right. Medically retire. But my other issue is, and I saw at least enough of it at the Senior Bowl, I'd feel comfortable with his hand on the ground. I felt like most of the film that I saw, he was standing up when he did, his impact plays, his highlights. But, yeah, I mean, again, Jared Verse is still my guy. So.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll see.
All right.
By the time we film again, free agency will be full.
Yeah.
Full go.
Yeah.
At least for those top few names, and then the month or so delay after that.
Yeah.
That second and third wave.
There might be some emergency pods I can try to push out depending on what
Fields
happens.
trade.
Right. If there's a Fields trade, I might just beg Justin's wife to let him come over and do another episode.
Might have to, yeah. We did a DJ Moore episode last year.
Yes, we did.
So. All right, that's at least as big as this.
Yeah.
So
bear down.
Bear down.